Hi, Paul. Thanks so much for joining us today. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Good morning, Michelle. Thanks for having me. Yeah, my name is Paul Milano. My company's name is AccuSpect Home Inspection. I've been doing home inspections this is my 22nd year. Started out in Massachusetts, and I've actually since evolved up into New Hampshire, where I currently reside. I moved up here a couple years ago, but I still service most of Central Mass and Lower New Hampshire.
Okay, so I'm sure that you've seen quite a bit then. So why would, you're nodding. So why should someone get a home inspection?
Well, my belief is that the benefit is to the buyer, and it can be also beneficial for the home sellers, but predominantly it's for the new buyers or the buyers of a new property, because they can be knowledgeable about what it is that they're getting into. If they're looking at just doing quick walkthroughs, I know in today's rapid market, you're doing about a 10-minute walkthrough, trying to have to make your decision very quickly. You don't really know what the structural and mechanical systems, what the kind of conditions of those are. So the home inspector, like somebody like myself or any of the other guys that are out here doing this, that's our job, is to come in here and educate you as to what it is that you're about to get into.
Okay. And are you going to necessarily find all the issues in a home inspection or no?
We try. It's not always possible. Sometimes there are conditions that will prevent seeing or getting to areas. Sometimes you go into a home and there's a lot of storage, so there might be an area of a basement or an attic area, or even sometimes even actually in the living areas, bedrooms in particular, where people have a lot of stored items. Maybe you can't get to a window, and unfortunately later on, somebody purchases a home and they find out, oh, that window didn't work, or you're in the basement. There might have been something hidden that wasn't visible at the time of the inspection, but we give it our best effort to get in there and dig around as best as we can to find all the latent issues. Everything that's I would say that we're going to find 95% of things.
Okay. So if you can't see behind walls or something like that, you're not going to know what's there.
Correct. That is correct. So we have
Okay.
to have full access to everything and able to do a full inspection. Yes.
Okay. And sometimes do you have to refer to another contractor or someone that's more an expert in like a heating system or something?
Absolutely. Yes. That's actually a great question, because sometimes there's an expectation that we as home inspectors can not only expose, deficiencies, but also tell the buyer, hey, this is how you fix this. Well, that's not really part and parcel. I started out life, I have a weird background, started out life as an electrician down in Texas for a few years, moved back up, wound up in the heating business. So I have a little bit of knowledge about, or I have quite a bit of knowledge about those two, but other things, I can't explain to you how to repair a boiler. You need to have a special license. So if I see corrosion, if I see damage, leaking, evidence of, what we call deferred maintenance, then I'm going to say, this is something you're going to want to refer out to a qualified licensed home, heating contractor, or a qualified electrician, somebody who can actually, get in a little bit deeper than we can during the home inspection.
Now, does a home inspector need to have a license?
Oh, yes, yes. In the state of Massachusetts, 2001 licensure became mandatory. So I was actually practicing prior to the licensure requirement, but we were still required to take the national exam, and we still have to have our annual training. So every 2 years, we have to show proof that we've had at least 12 hours of classroom training, to keep up with the current standards of practice, all the ethics, the newest techniques and newest, kind of the latest one that they're doing is the newer technologies, drones, infrared cameras, things along those lines. So we have to be able to be trained on a regular basis. Yes.
Okay. So there's a license part and then there's the experience part. So would you say that not all home inspectors are created equal?
I would. I mean, I know that there are some home inspectors that do it as a part-time job. They'll only do home inspections on weekends. They have their regular job during the week. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad home inspectors, but I am firmly a believer that the more you practice something, the better you become at it. I'm as, I would say, as guilty as some, because when I first started out, it's tough to start out in a new business and rely on that solely as your income. So I did have another job, but I worked around it to the point, as soon as my home inspection business, which was only about a year, was sustaining, then I went full-time doing home inspections. And there are a lot of guys out here that have been doing this for a while, and they're very knowledgeable. And there are also some who have not been doing it for quite as long, but they're trying, and they're trying to become knowledgeable. And that's, to me, that's the important part.
So how do you go about, as a new buyer, picking who you're going to use for a home inspector?
Well, again, I try to, I'll use myself as an example. I don't advertise. I don't have a web page. I don't have a Yellow Pages ad. My name has been out there for a long time with realtors and past buyers. I have somewhere around 9,000 home inspections, and I have a lot of referrals from past buyers. I have realtors will give my name out. So as you well know, you're required to give a list of home inspectors in the area. And there are some that will say, well, I have had experience with these 2 or 3. I've never met these gentlemen or ladies. So the word of mouth has always been the most beneficial. I see today a lot on social media. People are asking, looking for a home inspector. Anybody have any good recommendations? And you'll get, 10 or 15 comments saying, oh, I use so-and-so. And, that's, again, it's always nice to see your name come up in those threads.
Right.
Because, it makes you feel good that you did well for your customers.
So ask your friends, ask your realtor, go to social media, just try to get a sense of what experience someone has and go from there.
Exactly.
Okay. And should a buyer attend a home inspection?
It is very preferable. Personal experience is that when my buyers don't attend, I tend to wind up with a lot of questions after the fact. Because all you're gonna get it, they're gonna get a very detailed digital report.
Yeah.
But unless they're knowledgeable about a home, a lot of these things it's a foreign language to them. So when they're there, if there is an issue, let's say we were talking about heating systems earlier, if you look at the heating system and I can show you what the issue is physically, then you're going to read through that report and you're going to say, oh, that's right. My home inspector said this. Here's his report. And then when they have the heating contractor come out, they can be there to say, yes, this is what we were talking about, is this issue right here. And they're going to understand the potential severity of it.
Okay. And I get a lot of questions about radon. What is it? Should we test it? So what's your take on that?
So radon gas is decomposing radium, comes up out of the soil. The standard is to test the lowest livable area. And here in New England, we have a lot of older homes. Some still have dirt floors. Some have granite foundations.
Yeah.
You have to look at a home realistically and say, how many hours am I anticipating spending in this area? Most of the time in those dirt basements and granite stone foundations, you're not going to be spending a lot of time down there. So it would be then preferable to test up on the first floor. Again, now you need to have closed home conditions for 48 hours while the test is being run. I personally have never tested either of my 2 homes because I have dogs and my dogs are constantly in and out through the back. Yeah. My basements have both been finished. So I know that I'm getting air exchange. I usually, when a customer contacts me and asks me about a radon, I will actually direct them to the US EPA website. There's a lot of great information there. And I let them make their own determination. I'm not out to sell people any testing. I'm happy to place the test for them. Radon in the air, radon in the water, water quality testing, all those things. Those are an environmental thing that everybody has their own level of comfort with. Okay. I personally, today, if I was moving to specific areas, I would definitely test. I happen to know that both the homes that I bought were actually built on backfill, so I wasn't too concerned. A lot of the areas of like Fitchburg, Lunenburg, Gardner, Shrewsbury, where they had to do some blasting to put homes in, I would definitely recommend testing.
Okay, so it depends.
It does, yeah. So people will ask me, well, can we look at it when we get to the home and then give me your best assessment? Absolutely. I had one recently here locally, and I did the test. I really thought it was going to come back low, and it actually came back very high.
Mm-hmm.
So I was actually kind of shocked by the result, but it just means that just because it happens in one time, it doesn't make that the norm.
Okay. And Mass Save, what is that?
Mass Save is a great program. Mass Save is done through the utility companies, and as any buyer, it doesn't matter if you're a repeat buyer, but when you purchase a home, as soon as you have your account, if your utility company is not, so locally, Ashburnham Power and Light, Templeton, Holden, Shirley, there's several of them that have their own power companies. They don't participate in the program. But if your utility company, if National Grid, Unitil, Eversource, they all do participate, it's well worth it. They'll come out, they'll do a full energy audit of your home. They'll do, well, as soon as the COVID's all over, they're going to start coming back into the homes. But they'll do an infrared scan of all your walls. They'll give you LED light bulbs to help, reduce your energy consumption, digital thermostats, air sealing. They're really a great resource. And the other nice thing about the program, let's say we get back to that boiler, the heating situation. The heating system in your home is a little bit older, getting into, its advanced years, near its end of service life. They actually have programs where you can do a zero interest loan that you can utilize. And again, I use my house as an example. I actually used them in the past. My payment was $68 a month for a 7-year note, which was actually already saving me money from the day that I put it in.
Mm-hmm.
So they're they're a great resource. They're very knowledgeable. They have a lot of things that they can offer to you.
Okay, so even if you don't end up using their programs, worthwhile checking it out to see.
Oh, absolutely. And they'll tell you anything that might cost money, and they'll tell you the fees right there. There are rebates. So if you wanted to have your house insulated because it was lacking insulation, I believe it's 25% up to the first, 75% up to the first $2,000 worth of work. So it's a great resource. It's a great program. Everybody pays into it. If they're on those utilities anyway, it's actually on your bill. It's going to tell you what you're paying in monthly. I can't recommend it strong enough.
Okay, so is there anything that you can think of that I know we're just hitting highlighted points, but is there anything that you can think of that is important for a home buyer to know?
Well, I would stress when you're going through as a home buyer, if you're walking into a new home to check things out, try to remove the rose-colored glasses, so to speak, when you're going through the walkthrough. Look for anything that looks like it might have been a cover. So if you're seeing fresh paint in certain areas of the home but not in others, is there a reason for that? Is there an odor in the basement when you're down there, a musty odor? Things that you can use to key in that will help get you educated as to feeling proper about moving forward with that property. Because
Okay.
the bad thing is, again, and you know how fast today's market is that what tends to happen is you're in there for 10 minutes on a walkthrough, you put your offer, and then I'm coming in, or any of the home inspectors are coming in, and now we're finding several deficiencies that might be more financial burden than you're willing to put into it. So now you have to start the process all over again.
Okay. And aside from home inspections, any advice that you'd like to give just a new home buyer in general?
Consider the area that you're looking at. I know the school systems are very important. I would say you always absolutely positively want to pick a reputable realtor, because that's very important. You want to shop around for your mortgage and go with the local. I prefer the locals myself. Always going to see somebody. If you see somebody at the grocery store and they're not ducking you, that means that they've done you good service.
Yeah.
So I actually do prefer to work with the locals as much as possible. And again, go back to the social media, ask around, find out. a reputable realtor is one that's going to be there in your corner. They're going to help you fight through all the red tape that I don't get involved with, and that the buyers aren't aware of. Checking out your insurance companies and shopping those around. But as far as the overall purchase, I would just say try not to overspend.
Right, right. All right. Well, thank you so much, Paul. We really appreciate you being here and sharing your knowledge and expertise with us.
Thank you, Michelle. I greatly appreciate the opportunity. You have a great day.
You too. Thank you.